8:42, you're watching and listening to Breakfast with Steve Nutter. We've got trouble today.
Yeah, because we've got David Hamilton and Stephanie Tetchy.
Yeah.
And they are trouble.
They are trouble.
So long as you know.
Yeah, well, we do know.
You haven't mentioned my tie, by the way. I'm wearing my
I love your tie.
Christmas tie.
Yeah.
It looks great on radio, doesn't it?
Well, I was just going to say, for everybody listening on the radio, David's got an absolutely fabulous Christmas tie.
Yeah, it's Father Christmas tie because I'm the daddy of them all.
Oh, there you go. I've got... Actually, I need to get my Christmas tie out for next week. My friend Luke bought me a Christmas tie last year.
No, I want to see you in this scrappy old dressing gown you've got.
Oh,
that the dogs had.
The dogs had.
I just think he'd be fabulous. Don't you, doing the programme one day?
Yes.
Maybe nearer Christmas,
Yes.
with your dressing gown on.
Yeah. That would be comfortable. Your onesie.
I haven't got one.
Yeah.
Maybe a smoking jacket.
A smoking jacket. Oh, that would be nice. That's very, very that'd be lovely. Right, let's crack on with Danielle Harold, Stephanie, on the front of the Sun on Sunday.
You know, tonight we'll see the end of I'm a Celebrity series, but, you know, there are questions being raised by how safe is I'm a Celebrity for its contestants. We saw Grace Stent, who had to leave due to medical grounds, same as Britney Spears' sister, Jamie Lynn, and now Danielle Harold. She got evicted earlier this week. She stars in EastEnders, well, she was. And she's come out and she said that, you know, she had to be seen by a doctor while she was in the jungle. She had a nasty infection which could have possibly led her to being hospitalised. She managed to soldier on through the show, but she says she's lost up to a stone in weight.
I think Nigel Farage looks much
Yeah,
He does,
He's lost weight as well. Yeah, definitely.
And with this series, it's lost up to 2 million viewers. You know, usually they get about 9 million viewers. They've only had 7 million viewers, which have been dwindling as the series has been going on. So I guess there's going to be a lot of questions asked in the future. How safe are these Bush Tucker trials? Is it just an accident waiting to happen for a celebrity in the future?
Gosh, I'm afraid that's probably true.
So Danielle's spoken about her hardships and what she went through in the jungle in today's Sun.
Oh, there you go. Milking it.
Yeah, of course.
Well...
You've got to do it.
She still got paid a pretty penny. If you do the first 3 shows, you're still going to get paid.
Is that right?
Yeah. So,
I'll tell you what, you could say, I've got mental health problems, and after show 3, you're back home and you get your full wages.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
That's a loophole, isn't it?
It's a good, well, an excellent
Well,
one.
it won't happen again.
David, which youngster is making a big fuss about knocking on 80?
Well, I just happen to have here the front cover of the fabulous magazine, which comes with the Sun newspaper, and there is an old pal of ours, Angela Rippon. And,
I mean, what are these young women going on about, David?
I think it's terrible. She's setting the bar so high.
Yeah.
You've now got to look that fabulous when you're 80.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, she says, I'm knocking on 80 and I'm having the time of my
Well,
life.
I bet she
And why shouldn't she?
It's quite revealing. It says inside here, Steph, I don't have a lover right now, but I do have lots of friends.
Oh.
And she says also, I don't want to die with the words "if only" on my lips. And also, I might go to Las Vegas for my 80th birthday.
Well, she said to me only a couple of months ago that once she's turned 80, she said how she's going to retire, and then she's going to travel the world.
Well, I'll tell you the first thing she's done is she's signed up to do a show for Boom Radio, the station that I work for. She's doing a Christmas show.
Is she?
Yeah. So
well, I'm sorry about that, David, because everyone's going to be tuned into GBNEWS radio that day. So, wasted your money
we
there.
might poach Anne as well. You've got to be careful.
Can I do it from home?
David, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
How old am I?
Yeah.
97.
What?
97.
How old are you?
No, my pal Pete Murray is he's 98.
Is he?
I'm
Is he?
85.
85.
85, yeah.
And do you feel young still?
I do,
Young
yeah.
at heart?
Yeah, I do. I think age is just, you know, in the mind. I do everything that I used to do. I don't play football anymore.
Wow.
But everything else I do that I used to do.
You see,
I love that spirit.
You're a sprightly man. That's why we love having you on.
85
You've got a
years old.
sparkle
That's
in the
incredible.
eye.
I have,
But
yeah.
the voice hasn't changed. The voice is still the radio voice.
I'll tell you
that we've
one
always
thing that
known.
keeps you going is work.
Okay,
There's no doubt about that. You know, because it's a reason to get up in the morning, because I do a daily show, and I love coming in here when they ask me to come in here. It's a bit of a long drive at my age.
You drive yourself?
Yeah, drive myself in, yeah. I get up at 3 in the morning and drive in, yeah.
So no plans to retire?
Life in the old dog yet.
Well, there is.
I love it.
Good on you.
Keep going while it's fun.
Yeah.
Keep going, don't you really?
It is.
Don't take any notice of the numbers.
Somebody once said, work is more fun than fun.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. If you've got the right sort of
Best sort
job.
of work, yeah.
It wouldn't be much fun, I don't think, Stephanie, reading Omid Scobie's Endgame book about the Royals.
So
Well, not many people are.
No, not at all, and not surprisingly, actually, because there was so much. It feels like with that book, people already knew what to expect from it before it was even released, and so it's not surprising that in the UK it only sold over 6,000 copies in its first week, and in the US it's done over 9,000 copies, and on the Amazon bestseller list has come at number 731.
Good.
And I think it's good because I just think, you know, people are making money off the royals through these kind of books, these documentaries and whatever, and you just have to think, actually, the public aren't duped anymore.
He's really milking the Sussexes, isn't he?
He is.
He's just milking it.
And I think maybe he's not put an end game to his own career with such a book. So, you know, hopefully we'll see something refreshing from him in the future. But,
I think, Steph, that he should change his name to Omit. And you can omit him and omit the book.
Omit scumbag.
That's what's happening.
Oh, that's harsh.
Well, I think he deserves it, don't you?
I'll tell you what has always worried me about him is he always comes across as one of these people who wants to be a celebrity more than an author.
Definitely. Yeah, I think he's... And that's why he's losing his integrity. Like, if you really want a very established career as an author where you're respected and people want to read your work, then stop writing about the royals or write something interesting.
Yeah.
And he's had to admit, hasn't he,
Yeah.
that those two names were in a draft.
How else?
From him.
Yeah.
Of course, how else?
Well, an interpreter or translator couldn't make up two names.
No.
Just, you know,
And it's a terribly
It's not
unfair
easy.
thing on the translator to imply
blame.
that it was that.
Yeah.
And the Dutch publishers will not have it.
No,
They're
good on 'em.
quite right.
Publicity stunt gone wrong.
David, with there was all this hoo-ha over the Crooked House, that pub that was burnt down.
Yeah.
But apparently, this is in the Sunday Telegraph, a pub a week is being burnt down.
Yes, one pub is unlawfully burnt down or bulldozed or converted into luxury flats every single week of the year in the UK. And the Campaign for Real Ale has said that up to a third of pub losses are unauthorised. And it says it wants the government to upgrade the offence from of demolishing a pub, that is, from without permission, from unlawful to illegal, and to increase the fines.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, the number of pubs that are closing down. And
It's happened in my village. 17th century coaching house burned down to the ground.
funny that, isn't it?
Yeah, we still, us villagers, we still don't know. We haven't been told what was the cause at all. But it was absolutely the beating heart of the village, and it's still standing there, an absolute wreck. Total.
Yeah.
Burned to the ground.
Beautiful
It was
old
terrible.
buildings gone.
Yeah.
What do we
17th
do-
century coaching in.
What do we do to preserve the trade, though, David? Because, I mean, obviously, people aren't going to the pubs as
doing
much
my
as they used to.
Taking one for the team.
Exactly, Steph. I'll use that. I like that.
I mean, we try and get to the pub a couple of times a week. Just, you know, I mean, we're not there for long. Just have a couple of drinks or whatever. And it's just nice, a bit of an
It's lovely to
atmosphere.
have.
I think I take pubs for granted because I always think they're going to be there, but it's not until one closes where I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss that one.
I think the smoking did a lot of harm to them. You know, when they banned smoking, I think that had a big effect. And I think a lot of people now are drinking at home, you know. Simple as that.
But I think that's what tourists love about this country, that pub life. And I think the more it diminishes, it's getting rid of one of those factors that people love about the UK.
Some of them are so old, they've got histories and everything, haven't they? Tell us, if I wanted to ask Heston Blumenthal to come to my house and cook Christmas dinner for me, how much might it cost me?
£2,125, Anne.
A head per person?
Per person, but guess what? He doesn't even like the traditional Christmas dinner. So at his restaurant, the Fat Duck in Berkshire, he's charging people per head £2,125 for truffled egg with salmon, langoustine, cocktail, scallops, venison, beef, cheese and nuts. But people...
What, 2,000 quid for that?
Yeah, but the menu is only £400, but it's the wine, which is £1,700, which I just think is silly.
How much
to
do
be
you
spending
get? A
that
barrel?
amount. Yeah.
Can you imagine if you paid £1,700 for a bottle of wine, and you'd think each gulp you'd go, there's another 100 quid with a gulp. Can you imagine it?
I think
And what if you really didn't like the taste once you
Yeah.
can't
It's a
send that
waste
back,
of
can you?
money. Like, I'm sorry, that could go on a holiday.
Yeah.
But I guess for the rich and famous, this is the kind of amount.
Is Heston Blumenthal? He wouldn't turn up himself to do that. It would,
No,
this
it's just
catering service.
It's just his festive menu at his restaurant.
He might be there. He might be there doing
yeah.
it.
I think the money is always made on the alcohol, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, you know.
Alcohol and desserts.
Yeah.
When I worked in a pub,
Yeah.
and I was always very popular because I could flog the desserts to the women who were eating. There's always the women who had the dessert, and that's where they made all the profit.
Is that right?
Were you a barman?
I was a barman and a waiter, yeah.
Were you?
I can pull a pint, I'll have you know.
Well,
There you go, you see. I'll take you out, David. I'll take you for a drink.
yeah,
it's just-
a man of many parts. Some still working.
Yeah.
And I used to work in a shoe factory.
Oh.
I worked in a shoe factory.
What was you doing in
yeah.
a shoe factory?
Furnace
Yeah.
footwear. Yeah, I used to cut things called socks, which are actually the tiny. If you take your shoe off and then
Yeah.
the bottom of the heel, there's a little raised bit, and it's
Yes,
a piece.
there is.
Yeah.
It's a piece of felt called a sock.
Yeah.
I used to cut thousands of
What's
those
it
with a big
made for?
machine. Don't really know. Never asked that. It's just
Did
cut it.
you, did you just add that as a footnote?
Oh,
Very good, very good.
It is Christmas.
get off! Get off!
It is Christmas, but thousands of rail users are going to be miserable about it because the country's busiest stations are going to be closed on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, two of our busiest rail stations are going to be closed on Christmas Day. King's Cross and Paddington are both going to be closed. It's the usual story. It's engineering works. And, of course, it always happens at Christmas, doesn't it? It always happens at Christmas time.
Always does.
That's
Always
On
does.
that happy note,
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks, David. Yeah. Look, David Hamilton, Stephanie Tetchy,
Thank you,
as
guys.
always, a real pleasure to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, let's find out what the weather has in store for all of us today. Here's Ellie.